Hello everyone. Hopefully you've had the chance to view the first introductory video for this class. In this video, we are going to go over the requirements for week 1. So to start off, we will review what the readings are for your week 1 as well as what is due in terms of the discussion board assignment. So let's get started by looking under modules and then clicking on week 1. Here you will see that the learning objectives for the week as well as links to the two discussion forum posts that you are expected to complete for this class. So let's start by looking at the readings and resources for this week. So the first resource, which is the Cornell University resource, Legal Information Institute, Nonprofit Organizations, is a fairly short read. It'll help you define what is a nonprofit organization, what some of the different types of nonprofit organizations are, as well as provide some brief legal information about how nonprofit organizations are registered under federal and state laws and what the implications of their legal status are. Now, the second article, Effective Leadership in Social Service Organizations, or really a blog post, is a great read. Written by a social work clinician, it highlights the role that social workers can take in an organization in addition to their clinical roles. I would definitely highly recommend reading this post. The third resource, the IRS document, it discusses what public campaigning is and what a nonprofit organization and its staff can and cannot do when it comes to public campaigning. Please focus specifically on issue advocacy versus political campaigning interaction, but make sure to skim through the rest as well, especially if you're interested in knowing what this means for organizations that work in the area of advocacy and social action. As for the book chapter from Kaufman, this will be a great resource for you through the course of the semester. For this week, I would suggest specifically reading about the pre-engagement and the assessment phases. Especially reading about the assessment phase will help you prepare for the assignment on organizational assessment that is due next week, so in week 2. It'll be a good resource for you to have for week 2, and I recommend familiarizing yourself with these two sections of the chapter this week. The final reading resource provides a very simply written overview of what nonprofit organizations are, how they came about, and what role they play in our lives. Once you have read through these resources, you should be able to identify and define what nonprofit organizations are and what role they play in our society. So once you have completed the readings, please complete the 2 discussion board posts. So let's look at the first discussion board, so services related to a social work shared case. So for this, you will begin by reading the shared case that you'll find here about Anita and her children. Once you have read the initial post, please respond to the questions that are outlined here. You should discuss what are all the services that would have been available to Anita and her children if they were in the perfect world. So in the best case scenario, what would be all the different human service organizations that Anita and her children would have access to, or organizations that would reach out to them, and what are the services that these organizations provide? List these organizations and write a couple of brief sentences on what services the organizations would be providing Anita and her children. For the second question, move on from the perfect world to the real world. So based on your knowledge about social work practice, identify some of the barriers or issues that Anita and her family might encounter that would prevent them from getting the services they need. What might be some limitations in how these organizations distribute resources? What might be issues in these organizations that might prevent them from being able to assist this family? Draw from your knowledge about social work practice as well as your readings from week 1 to address this question. Your initial post will be due this Thursday, and your response post will be due on Sunday. In your response post, reflect on the initial post of one of your classmates. Identify the similarities and differences of your analysis and theirs. So what is the similarity between what they've said and what you've said, and what are some of the differences? Try responding to a classmate who does not already have a response post. So for your second discussion board post, getting to know an organization, you will have to pick a human service organization that employs social workers in some capacity. This can be an organization that you have had your field placement or you work for, or you volunteer at. The important thing to remember here is that this is the organization that you will be basing your future assignments on. You will review this organization for your organizational assessment assignment that is due in week 2, and you will develop a program proposal for this organization for your main program development assignment for this class. Therefore, pick an organization that you are familiar with. You should ideally have good access to the staff at the organization in case you have questions, or you should have some other way of finding out what you need from the organization for the purpose of this assignment. Once you have identified the organization, the initial post for this week is fairly straightforward. Please provide the name and location of the organization, provide a brief description of the organization, and also about what your role within the organization is. So when you're describing the organization, focus on things like what its vision and mission might be, the types of programs or services that they provide, and what population that they work with. You can also provide some details about the composition of this organization, such as how much staff is in it, what the size of the organization is, etc. Your initial post will be due on Thursday. For your response post, I will be assigning you with a partner by Wednesday. So check the announcements page for that. You have to review the initial post provided by your partner and then do some research on the organization that your partner chose. Spend some time, no more than an hour and a half, to see what you can find about this organization online. What does the website say? Is the organization mentioned in other reports, blogs, news articles, etc.? Document what you find, and then in 2 to 3 paragraphs, respond to the prompts that are listed here. So what kind of evidence did you find? So document this evidence using screenshots or photos, and then upload a couple of these, 3 of these evidences. Talk about what type of organization or agency it is, what kind of an online presence it has, and whether that suits with what it is expected to do, as well as look at whether this is a kind of organization that you would send someone to visit. Would you want to visit this yourself? Why and why not? So go through all of these prompts and answer the questions that are in these prompts for your response post, along with posting the 3 pieces of evidence. I look forward to reading your discussion forum posts and will respond within a week from Sunday with my feedback. Thank you for watching this video. Please email me if you have any questions. All the best and have a great week ahead.